we evolved, we were established by the North Clondalkin Community Development Programme.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think someone behind me who'd like to make a comment or pose a question. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, I'm Seamus Hempenstone, Principal Officer in Department of Education and Science, in charge of the Further Education section. I just wanted to make a few points. We're talking inequality and the issues facing our economy because of the unemployment crisis and that kind of thing. And just to say, we spent over 420 million in 2008 on further education. That's 60% more than we spent in 2002. In 1997, there was 95,000 participants in further ed, and in 2008, there was over 170,000. That's an increase of 100,000. And that provides education qualifications for people between levels 1 to 6 on the NFQ. And that's crucial to our economy and crucial to our society. I mean, I don't think anyone would disagree that the biggest boost to someone's self-esteem and confidence is getting a job. And now there's 12% people unemployed because of, a major global economic crisis. And further education is providing opportunities to more people than ever before. And maybe, I'm kind of breaking the coziness of this conference and saying that, as I said, we're providing more opportunities to people than ever before. And I think we should just try and reflect on some positive things as well. And, we do talk about upskilling and reskilling, but that's very important because most of the jobs of tomorrow are going to be higher skilled than they are now. And we're seeing ever more increasing numbers of people going back to further education, and the VECs, who I think I should mention as the major providers of further education, are doing a fantastic job within the resources that they have. There's even more people going back to higher education, including a vast amount of mature students, which shows that people have an appetite for reskilling, and we're providing those opportunities to people. And the facts of the matter are that we don't have any more money. I mean, last year we were spending 56 billion and we're earning 33. That's just the way it is, and I don't know how we're going to bridge that gap. And the reason, I'm not going to get into a debate about economics and that, but there are decisions that we had to make in order to achieve fiscal stability. Without fiscal stability, we're not going to be able to get money internationally, which means we're not going to be able to pay for anything. So we're going to have to really learn and try to do as much as we can within the resources that we have. And as the Minister said, it's not going to be easy, but I think people here are resilient and creative and innovative, and that's the way we're going to do it. Thanks.
Thank you, Seamus. And I think that draws us to one of the purposes of today, if we're being task-focused, which I suppose we aren't in a way, we are endeavouring to come together collectively and be creative and constructive. So there's very valuable points being made all around, and I suppose it is drawing out our leadership to see if we can address those. Maybe we'll take one or two more comments and questions, and then I think we'll go to the DVD, if that's okay. Would anyone like to? Yes, okay. Welcome to Bernhard from, do you want to introduce yourself, Bernhard?
Okay, thank you. Good morning to everybody. My name is Bernhard Gaviara, European Commission, and first of all I would like to say that I'm very delighted to be here today. And I can just report to my colleagues that I'm sure that the money is spent in the most positive way that is possible. So what has already been mentioned by previous speakers, lifelong learning as such has taken place. The idea of learning from cradle to grave has got ground and has found its way to the most policymakers in Europe, but there's still a huge difficulty to get it further down to learning providers, to learning institutions, and of course to the learners themselves. So what we are trying to do with this call and with this activity under the Lifelong Learning Programme is to get this idea of lifelong learning much more widely spread. And I think, and I'm convinced that this is the basis for all further success in making lifelong learning a reality. So it's all about awareness and about change in our minds before we can get a step further, can progress and provide more flexible learning pathways to individual learners. There's another thing I would like to mention, and it's also including a question to Neil Crowley. When I flew into Dublin yesterday, I got a copy of the Irish Independent into my hands, and I was very excited to read that Ireland is now launching a massive program on early childhood education and care. And this is the more impressive as it is under the economic crisis, which has hit Ireland quite hard. So I find this very impressive, and I think it's a massive contribution to laying the foundations for a lifelong learning culture in a country, provision of free early childhood education and care. But what we can see from many countries that are providing early childhood education and care is even when participation rates are very high, some of the countries like France or Sweden reach participation rates of almost 100%. So it is, for many countries, it's still difficult to reach the most disadvantaged groups. So this is again this issue of equity on the one hand and equality on the other side. So what do you think, Neil, how can policy makers, how can providers of early childhood education and care reach these groups that are most disadvantaged and most distant to education and learning to really achieve equality in that sense? Thanks.
Over to you, Neil.
Okay. Well, just a quick 30 minutes, if that's all right to answer that.
No, you've got 2 minutes. That's your allotment.
I'll use one of the minutes maybe just to respond to the Department of Education. I mean, I think there is a lot done. There is a lot of money being spent, and there is good work being done. And I've had contact with some VCs that do excellent work. Donegal and Kerry stand out in particular. At the same time, though, we have to acknowledge that there are huge educational inequalities. We have to acknowledge, therefore, that not enough is being done, number one, and we have to acknowledge, number two, that some of what we're doing, we're not doing the right way. So there is a real argument for change. There is a real argument for further investment. I don't think it's enough to say we don't have the money.